Tonight on BBC London. Stabbed to death on a London bus, the mother of 14-year-old Kylian Bokassa pays tribute.
Anything he loves, he was doing it very to his best ability. And he was good at football. When he was doing football, he was very good.
We'll be talking about what we need to do to crack down on youth violence in the capital. Also ahead, one of two hikers missing in the Italian Dolomites is recovered by mountain rescuers. Plus, off-peak Friday fail, why cheaper bus and tube travel didn't tempt people back into the capital. And
you're green.
The wicked wig with a very special backstory involving a family of former Congolese refugees now living in North London. Good evening and welcome. I'm Alice Bandukravi. The mother of a teenage boy stabbed to death on a bus in southeast London yesterday afternoon says she's not surprised her son was killed. It's emerged 14-year-old Kylian Bokassa had a challenging upbringing, spending a number of years in care before returning to live with his mother Mary. She claims he was groomed by gangs from the age of just 6. The Met Police has yet to make any arrests, and our reporter Frankie McCamley has spent the day at the scene in Woolwich and can join us now. Frankie.
Well, good evening, Alice. I'm at the St Mary Magdalene Church in Woolwich this evening, which has set aside around an hour and a half for people to come together to try to come to terms with what happened just a mere street away from where I'm standing, and also a chance for them to pay their respects to the 14-year-old who lost his life yesterday. Well, as you can see, people have already started gathering, especially young people, many of them who knew Kylian Bokassa. Walking by today, it's hard to imagine the events of yesterday. The only marker, a small collection of flowers paying tribute to 14-year-old Kylian Bokassa, stabbed to death on the 472 bus in broad daylight. His mother Mary has paid tribute to her son.
Anything he loves, he was doing it very to his best ability. And he was good at football. When he was doing football, he was very good. When he was drawing, he was extremely good at drawing. And he loved music. And recently I also realized he loved cooking.
She believes he was groomed by a gang.
I think it's just kids who are very vulnerable. And some of them are taken advantage of by gangs. Yeah.
In a statement, the pupil referral unit Kylian went to has written, "We are devastated at the tragic death of this funny, kind and ambitious young man. He was working incredibly hard at school to build on the successes he had already achieved since joining us. Our thoughts are with the young man's family and friends, and we are here to support them however needed during this unimaginably difficult time." Some of those living nearby say they're now scared to walk along this road and even question whether taking the bus is safe. But the council is trying to reassure locals.
The police have put on extra presence and as a result of this situation, we're continuing to work with them and we're working to be vigilant to support and ensure that we promote safety. We want Greenwich to be a safe place, and that's what we are always striving for and working for. And that's why we maintain such a good relationship with the police, but also our own enforcement teams, our own community safety teams are out in the streets in our community presently to make sure that we reduce such incidents on our streets.
But many will remember just a few months ago in September last year, 15-year-old Dejon Campbell fatally stabbed less than a mile and a half away. He was one of 11 teenagers killed in the capital last year. Tonight, there's a heightened police presence in the area as officers trawl CCTV from nearby businesses, searching for those responsible for the death of this young, aspiring rapper. Yet another life lost on our streets on his first day back to school.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the incident now. And joining me now is the Reverend Jesse van der Vork and Farron, an anti-knife crime campaigner. Now, Reverend, lots of people already arriving this evening. What would you like the community to take away from this event?
I think the main thing that we want people to take away this evening is that that young people are cared about by the community. So, you know, we just want people to come along, have a time of quiet prayer and reflection, and show that they do care about young people, because the community do care about young people, and we are concerned about the violence that's going on in London and in our community. So that's the main thing. We want young people to know that they are cared about.
And there are already many young people arriving here tonight. Farron, you speak to a lot of young people involved in knife crime. When things like this happen, what are they saying to you at times like this?
You know, it's very tragic. You know, a lot of these young people have become nearly desensitized to it, and they're desensitized to the point that they can actually go and commit these vicious crimes, or they're desensitized to the point that they can scroll through the internet and believe that it's something that they want to be involved with, you know. And that's where it leads me to say that I believe that early intervention is going to be one of the main forces that we can use to help these young people. You know?
And let's talk about that early intervention. What does need to change to stop us seeing these terrible scenes on the streets of the capital week after week?
We need to have guidance in, we need to have preventions in, and if we can maybe find a way to make these young people start thinking more positive, I'm very adamant that their actions, or positive actions, will follow.
Well, thank you, Farron, speaking there. And of course, as the police investigation continues, still no arrests made. Police are appealing to witnesses, anyone with any mobile phone footage or dash cam footage, to come forward as soon as possible. Back to you, Alice.
Frankie, thank you. Well, the death of Kylian Bokassa was the second stabbing in Woolwich in just 2 days. The first happened in Shooters Hill on Monday, in an area where residents have told the BBC they fear for their safety and say they've warned police something like this would happen. The Met Police says it will increase patrols and asks anyone concerned to speak with them. Matt Graveling reports.
I'm just 2 miles away from Church Street in Woolwich, the scene of yesterday's tragedy. And it was here less than 24 hours before a 14-year-old boy was killed that an 18-year-old was stabbed in what was believed to be an unrelated incident. He was a Year 12 here at Shooters Hill Sixth Form College. It was just before 4:30 on Monday afternoon that police were called to the estate across the road to reports of a stabbing on Prince Imperial Road. The man was treated at the scene before being taken to hospital. We were originally told he was in a critical condition. This afternoon, the police told us his condition is not life-threatening. The estate where the attacks took place is home to military families. Today, evidence remained of Monday's violence. One resident told me they do not feel safe on the estate, that there is often young people fighting and doing drugs, including in the nearby areas where children go to play. A number of residents had a meeting with the Metropolitan Police just before Christmas, voicing their concerns and saying they were worried something like this would happen. They said they were assured the police would increase patrols in the area. The college website said it was closed to students today, and in a statement said they were offering counselling and support to anyone affected by the incident.
That was Matt Graveling reporting there. Well, joining me to discuss this is Mark Rodney, the Chief Executive of Project Lifeline, which works to prevent youth violence, and Lib Peck, the Director of London's Violence Reduction Unit. Thank you both for coming in today. Mark, you knew of Kylian, the 14-year-old victim of yesterday's attack. Is it true that you'd tried to reach him and that you hadn't been able to access him?
Well, I knew of that. Those young people and what those young people are going through, and I would say that if we were accessible to them, that young man may have been still alive today. So there's a lot of things that need to be done.
One of the aims of Project Lifeline is to identify the root causes of knife crime, particularly as it affects young people. What do you think is going wrong?
I think we need to sit around the table and deliberate a bit more on the new new initiatives. We're doing a lot of work. VIU is doing a lot of work in regards to prevention, but we need to collaborate a bit more and do some more work, sit around the table and discuss new initiatives. Lib
Peck, Violence Reduction Unit, that's what you head up. Are there practical things that we should be doing differently, doing better, things that we haven't considered?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's heartbreaking, isn't it, to see that interview with Killian's mother and to appreciate, I suppose, the trauma that that community and his friends will now be facing. And yes, I think while I can understand, obviously, the call for more police on the streets and, more visible police presence in that area, I think it's really important that we emphasise how much more investment we need in prevention, national investment in prevention. And that comes with a lot of practical things. We work with a lot of young people. We listen to what they say their needs are, their risks are, their challenges are. Those are practical things. It's mentoring in schools. It's thinking about youth workers and their role in communities and organisations. And all of those are, in a way, all about providing a literal lifeline to many young people through the role of a trusted adult.
You mentioned funding. Am I right to say that the Violence Reduction Unit is actually losing some of its funding? Are you losing £6 million? And how do you think that's going to affect your work?
Yeah, so from last year we are going to be losing some money, but that is mainly external grant money. We still benefit from a huge amount of investment from the Mayor of London, and we're hopeful that we'll still be getting money from the Home Office, all of which enables us to reach 400,000 young people across London. But in terms of that specific challenge, it's all about working in partnership. It's all about seeing the evidence, listening to young people, seeing what's working and making sure that we're investing in those critical interventions.
Anyone who keeps abreast of the news may well think that this problem is as bad as it's ever been. You work at the Rock Face. How does it feel for you?
Well, we need to be honest about what we're facing there. This is children killing children. There's no other way to look at it, and a lot more needs to be done, and we need to address it in the right manner. We need to deal with the prevention strategies in the school, but we need to also do more outreach work. And as you spoke about, funding plays a major part in doing the work that we do. With Project Lifeline, we're in quite a few different boroughs, and we need support. So although we're getting support from VRU, it's good that we can get together and actually collaborate more, where we can do more.
And you've spoken about the role of youth clubs and the fact that there are fewer. Is that what we need?
Yeah, I believe, I'm of the age where I can see things unfolding. I've seen things unfold to where we are today, and I believe that we need more youth clubs. When the youth clubs were here, it was a form of, unity. Children engaged through the youth clubs, through various areas. With the youth clubs gone, there's no engagement, there's no unity, which ends up in what some people will call postcode wars. Myself, I don't believe that. I believe we need to bring back the youth clubs where people can start collaborating and speaking more, and children can meet other children in the borough.
City Hall points out that the number of teenage murders last year was the lowest since 2012, but obviously you would say still much more work to be done.
Yeah, it's very difficult, I think, today talking about statistics when the focus is actually on the tragedy that's happened in Woolwich. But yes, last year we did see a record low in terms of the number of teenage homicides. Actually, the figure for under 25s killed was actually at an all-time low from 20 years ago. That's of little consolation to the people who've lost somebody, and of no consolation today to Killian's mother. But
any death is one too many. I'm afraid we're going to have to end it there. But thank you so much for your time, Lib Peck, Mark Rodney. Thank you for coming in today. Thanks. Lots more to come tonight, including as the Mayor makes his key budget decisions for 2025, it emerges an experiment with cheaper travel tickets on Fridays failed to attract people back into the city.
And can Tottenham keep their dreams of a Wembley Cup final place alive as they face Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final first leg here in North London tonight?
A body has been found in the search for two Londoners who went missing in the Dolomites. Alpine Rescue Services in Italy said Samuel Harris was found earlier this morning. He and Aziz Ziriat were last heard from a week ago. Well, our reporter Lakshmi Gopal has been across developments today. Lakshmi, what's the latest?
Well, Alice, as you say, within the past few hours, we've heard from Italy's Alpine Rescue Service. They say that they have found and recovered from the snow a body they believe to be Samuel Harris. He was 35 and an antiques dealer. He and Aziz Ziriat, who's 36 and works at Crystal Palace Football Club, were described by friends as experienced hikers. The last contact from them was on New Year's Day. They'd been staying at a hut called Casina d'Osson at the base of Carre Alto mountain in northern Italy, and the authorities there say they found Samuel's body at the foot of a rock face on Carre Alto. Police are investigating exactly what happened, including the possibility that Samuel fell from that rock face. Aziz sent a WhatsApp video of the hut, and a search there found their backpacks and equipment. Their video revealed that they had planned to leave the bags there for a day before they moved on to the next place.
And Lakshmi, the search therefore for Aziz continues.
That's right. Rescue teams had been using dog units specialised in avalanche search to look for Aziz, but have had to abandon that for now because of bad weather. In fact, rescue teams had to be helicoptered off the mountain due to the risk of an avalanche. They say they're going to resume the search as soon as the weather allows, and say that at this stage it's not likely to be any time before Friday. Now, Alice, I know you spoke to Aziz's loved ones yesterday, and this will obviously be a really distressing and anxious wait for them, and a distressing time for them and the family of Samuel Harris with today's news. Both men were due to return to London the day before yesterday. Instead, their families are in Italy being offered counselling at what will be an upsetting time for them. Alice.
Absolutely. Lakshmi Gopal, thanks very much for that. Now, do you remember a plan to try to get more people to travel into London on Fridays? Well, it involved the mayor scrapping peak time travel fares on Fridays in a 3-month trial. Well, it's emerged today that it made no difference to passenger numbers. Our political editor, Tim Donovan, is in Westminster for us this evening. Tim, has the idea been dumped?
It has. It's not going to be adopted permanently. People may remember when the mayor had this idea just before the mayoral election last year, some of his political opponents suggested it was a rather crude kind of pre-election sweetener, but he insisted it was an important thing for Transport for London to look at, to see if you could get more people coming in, travelling on Friday, because that was where ridership was particularly low, and not least because businesses and the hospitality trade were saying it would be a good idea. But now Transport for London have done a study of this, only just published, and it has reported that there was no difference made to passenger numbers by getting rid of peak travel on Fridays. It says that clearly other factors other than price are what are determining how people travel, or in short, you might say that working from home or lifestyle have trumped saving the odd couple of quid. City Hall do say that it was worth doing because it feeds in valuable learnings as it looks for other ways of increasing ridership.
And speaking of City Hall, pressure on the mayor to provide more money to the police.
Yeah, pressure on the mayor and indeed the Labour government to put more money into the police at a time when the Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, has been saying that he's got to find a savings of about £450 million, and he's saying he's going to have to get rid of 2,300 police officers out of a force of 33,000 next year. And in light of yesterday afternoon's stabbing that was referenced at a London Assembly budget meeting, the mayor has been saying he's been trying to do his best over the last few years to put more money in, but he is under pressure, as we heard today.
We had a 14-year-old stabbed to death. Policing in London has got to have your absolute attention and as much funding as possible. And to actually base a budget on a reduction of 2,300 officers, I would say is quite severe. Are you not as worried as I am?
Well, first, I'm sure I speak for the committee when I say our thoughts are with the family of this 14-year-old. The amount of money the Met Police Service receives from City Hall used to be 19% of their total funding, and now exceeds 25% of their total funding. City Hall funds more than 1,300 police officers and provides funding to the Met Police Service for more than 500 police community support officers.
Now, the Met Police haven't yet submitted their final budget, and the government haven't said yet what money in total extra the Met will be getting next year. It's the government and City Hall that fund it. And the Mayor himself hasn't yet decided how much of our council tax or our precept should go into policing next year. At the moment, we pay about £305 a year towards policing, but he hasn't yet made a decision on how much that should go up to deal with the current financial problems.
OK, thanks very much for that, Tim Donovan. To football now, and a big night for Tottenham. They'll be hoping to put their Premier League struggles to one side and take a step closer towards a place in the League Cup final at Wembley. They're taking on Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final first leg at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where we can join Chris Slegg. And Chris, it won't be an easy task for Spurs, will it?
No, tough task, Alice, but plenty of excitement among the Tottenham fans heading in, because this is cup football and anything is possible. But to give just the size of the task, Liverpool won 6-3 here just before Christmas. They are, of course, top of the Premier League, and Tottenham have only won 2 of their last 11. Now, manager Ange Postecoglou, he's got a raft of injury problems too, and he is under a bit of pressure because of that form. But the chairman, Daniel Levy, believed to be very much still behind him. And the good news for Tottenham tonight is they put in their best performances this season in this competition. And Ange Postecoglou is confident they have another big result in them tonight.
We've done well to get to the semi-final stage. We've beaten some pretty, both Manchester clubs to do that. Hasn't been an easy road to get to the semi-finals. We've got obviously, an opponent who's, been the standout team so far this year in all competitions. So a great test for us, but it's a semi-final, first leg of a semi-final of a cup, and should be exciting. Looking forward to it.
Now, nothing's going to be decided tonight. Of course, the second leg at Anfield on February the 6th. Last night, things didn't go to plan for Arsenal. There's time to get used to it. And now the EFL has said today that no other teams have had any complaints about that ball. And Arsenal have a bit of time too to practice with it, because their second leg at St James's Park, that is not until February the 5th, Alice.
And Chris, football news elsewhere today. As expected, West Ham have sacked their manager, Julen Lopetegui.
Yeah, Julen Lopetegui only took charge in the summer. He's finally been put out of his misery today. News leaked yesterday that he was on the verge of being sacked. He took training yesterday. He took training again today, even though it also emerged West Ham had already had talks with Graham Potter, the former Chelsea and Brighton manager, about taking over from Julen Lopetegui. It is now understood that Graham Potter will be confirmed as the new West Ham manager tomorrow. A bit earlier today, we spoke to Glenn Murray, the former Brighton and Crystal Palace striker who played under Potter at Brighton, and he says he will be a very good appointment for West Ham.
They want a better brand of football to be played at the London Stadium, and I think they'll be able to deliver that. There'll obviously have to be patience from the fan base for him to get his philosophy across to the players. All that takes time.
Graham Potter expected to be confirmed as West Ham manager tomorrow. They play Villa in the FA Cup on Friday. Tonight, Tottenham-Liverpool League Cup semi-final, first leg. Live commentary, BBC Radio London on our digital platform. Alice.
Chris Slegg, thanks very much for that. Now, you may have been to see it at the cinema over the winter break. Wicked Part 1 was one of the highest grossing movies of 2024. It tells the origin story of Elphaba, better known as the Wicked Witch of the West. Well, we have a backstory too that involves the woman who braided one of Elphaba's wigs. She came over to London as a Congolese refugee with her daughters, and Anna O'Neill went to meet them.
I came here as a refugee from DRC, Congo, with no word of English. So I learned English, and then because braiding is like Senegal, Ivory Coast, so all the French countries, like it's our hobby when we're young. We really love doing braids.
It's the Seven Sisters Road, not the yellow brick road, that leads you to this unassuming salon in North London, specialising in braids.
The other hairdressers used to kind of criticise me and look down on me.
You're green. But they're not looking down now, because José's braiding technique was used to make one of the wigs Elphaba wore in the film Wicked.
I got the call and I told my daughters, oh, by the way, we have to do a wig that's going to be used for a film, and the actress is called Cynthia.
London company Samuel James Wigs was commissioned to make 4 hairpieces, one of which José and her team braided in just 3 days.
I wouldn't lie. I was trembling. I was scared. I was worried. It wasn't up to my strength, but I said, I can do it. I'm a professional braider. I can do it. Yeah, put my mind to it. Then the whole team, got my daughters, and then we did it.
The wig had to have superfine micro braids and move like real hair.
She wants something that will be like a natural hair, so do it as small as possible. Very tiny, like I have to take like 5 strands of hair. So one of these is like 10 of Cynthia's braid.
It was so small, I couldn't see the end. When we started, I was like, is this going to finish? The car that came to pick up the wig, I was like, whoa, this is big.
I'm so proud now that braids are gone up high.
Anna O'Neill, BBC London.
OK, time for the weather now with Stav, who's here. Hello.
Hello, Alice. Thank you very much. Good evening to you. It's a wintry mix of weather out there across our region. We've got a weather front which has been affecting the south of England, bringing some sleet and snow. Next few days staying cold with some very cold nights to come. So we've got this mixture of rain, sleet and snow, some considerable accumulations of snow over the South Downs there for a while. Certainly over the next few hours, a yellow warning in force for that, which will be lifted around midnight. But it'll leave a legacy of ice where skies start to clear and temperatures plummet towards the end of the night. Still a hangback of that cloud with a few spots of rain, sleet and snow across the far southeast, but another very cold night to come. That front clears away and then we're in a run of very cold northerly winds. You can see the air mass chart. We're really in the grips of that cold Arctic air. So a cold start. There will be some frost, some ice to watch out for. A lot of sunshine around, mind you. And through the day, it'll stay dry. Maybe just a bit of fair weather cloud building up. Temperatures struggling to get much above 2 or 3 degrees though. So as you can see, it will remain cold despite the sunshine. But we start to see some changes as we move through the end of the week into the weekend. Less cold air begins to ripple in from the Atlantic. It'll be a slow change for us, as you can see, but through the weekend to next week, then we should start to get closer to double digits. That's it from me, Alice.
Glad to hear it, Stav. Thank you. And we'll be here later with our 10:30 news. But for now, from all of us here, whatever you're doing, do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.